Hi everyone, welcome to the Indica Foods channel. I'm Leah and today we'll be making some delicious pinto bean soup. Personally, I'm someone that enjoys beans and I'm excited to share this recipe with you. So, to start our process, we'll need some pinto beans. For full disclosure, these beans were soaked the night before and washed several times to just make sure that whatever causes heartburn with beans reduces. So now to the beans, we just add some water and let it boil. Now, before we continue with our video, I want to take this chance to thank everyone for watching our videos. Those that have subscribed, we really appreciate it. Thank you. So now once the beans have boiled, anytime I boil beans, I can't explain this scientifically, but anytime I boil and I see this form, the beans tend to give me heartburn. So what I do is I scoop off this foam, but also rather than taking time to wait for all the foam to, come up, I just also decide to wash the beans. So I'll pour out this water that has been boiling and then I will start the process again to reduce the chances that the beans will cause me heartburn. So as we do this, thank you so much once again for watching our videos. Please like, please subscribe, please share. We really appreciate the privilege of your time. So you can clearly see that the beans have not boiled. So the aim is just to change the water. So for those that hate beans, just always change the water after the first boil. So I have washed the beans. I'll just go ahead and add the second batch of water and let it boil. And if it doesn't produce a lot of foam, then that means that the beans will less likely give you a heartburn. So that's how I do it. Let us know in the comment section if this is how you do uh, to the beans. But also, I understand that it also depends on how the beans are processed. So, probably how these beans are processed is why heartburn is caused, because if you're to soak them the night before and then the next day you can still get heartburn from the beans, I suspect it's just the processing. So again, feel free, let us know in the comment section, is this how you process your dry beans, or you're someone that just doesn't start your beans from scratch? You prefer to have the pre-boiled beans and let them cook, and it's shorter time but better. So now these beans have been boiling for about 40 minutes. Since they were soaked, they should not take long to boil. And you can see that the foam, they've stopped bringing that foam on top. So the beans are ready. So we'll start our next process of making the curry, since we want to enjoy our pinto beans. Once again, thank you for watching our videos. Those who are coming across this YouTube channel for the first time, please subscribe. We really appreciate the privilege of your subscription. Please like, please comment, and please share it with other people. Now we'll start the next process of making the base for our beans. So to a pot, we'll add some oil. I would estimate this as 4 tablespoons of oil because of the quantity of the beans. Then we'll go ahead and add some onions and scallions and then fry them, because you want now to build up flavors so that everything that you add to your beans, add to its flavor and enhance the beans flavors. So we'll just make sure that we fry but not burn these onions and scallions, and because they are frozen, we have to also be careful about the splatter. So if you use frozen vegetables for cooking, you can always cover them at this point to avoid them splattering. But I think at this moment they're not splattering that much the way I expected them, so there is no need for me to cover at this point. But as soon as it starts splattering, then I will just go ahead and cover and let them cook. So the aim is you want your onions to turn golden brown, but not very brown, and so are the scallions. So you just want them to slightly change color for you to know that they have flavored up the oil and have released all the flavors that they have. As we wait for these onions to flavor up, thank you so much for watching our videos. Please like, please subscribe, please comment. We appreciate the privilege of your time. And sure, let us know in the comment section, Is the way we cook our beans different from how you do it? How would you like us to make these beans? Just leave us a comment, and then we will follow up on that. So we'll give this a great turn. Now that you can see there's a slight color change that has started happening, so that it does not overly burn, we'll just give it a great mix. Again, the aim is to make sure that every ingredient releases its flavor. Now, have you seen the green? The onions have started turning golden brown. Now, this is what we are aiming for. So this is good. We don't need to cook them more further. This means that we've achieved the consistency that we want. So we'll go ahead and add in some diced tomatoes, and then also fry these around so that they release their beautiful flavors. I believe that tomatoes are something that, in most cooking around the world, if there were no tomatoes, I would wonder how the food would taste and feel like. So we'll just give this a good mix and let it simmer, boil. Again, we want to build the flavor profile for our beans, so we'll just let the tomatoes also mix their flavors with the onion and scallion flavors that we added earlier before we added the tomatoes. So thank you once again for watching our videos. Thank you for the privilege of your time. Please like, please subscribe, and please comment. And also follow us on Instagram at Choma Jesus Leah, and on TikTok it's indica.foods. We appreciate your time. Just follow us, please. We would really appreciate the privilege of your subscription. So now that the tomatoes are still frying up, we want them to fry and release all the tomato flavors that we have. At this point, some people could add in some tomato paste, but I love my beans fresh with fresh ingredients, so I tend to minimize the amount of, processed products that I put in my fresh beans. So we'll just let this cook for about 10 minutes, but it's also important that you keep checking so that it does not burn or stick to the pot. And so just we'll let this boil and let it, cook to the best of its ability to release all its flavors. So at this point, again, I want to thank all of you for watching our videos. Thank you so much for those that subscribed through last week. We really appreciate the privilege of your subscriptions. Now these tomatoes have been boiling for about 10 minutes, and you can still see that they still have some water, so there was no need for us to really hurry up on the boiling process, the frying process of the tomatoes. So we'll just give them a great turn so that, again, we want all these flavors to mix up. And then we also start adding seasoning to our flavors. So we will add some fresh minced garlic, and then make sure that it cooks for some time before we add all the other dry ingredients. Someone would say, why don't you fry the garlic with onions? If you want your beans to have a very strong garlicky flavor, then always fry them before the onions. Now, we will also add some black pepper at this time, add some curry powder, about a tablespoon of curry powder, and then we'll follow this by some hot pepper. We like our beans hot on this channel, and also follow it with a generous amount of paprika powder. And we'll finish this off by adding some chicken bouillon specifically. And then we'll also go ahead and add some rosemary for the unique flavor that it adds. We'll give this a mix and make sure that everything mixes and every ingredient releases every flavor that it has to release. At this point, if there's very little water, you can go ahead and add some water to make sure that, the flavors cook and they release each other. But now we'll just end this by adding some bay leaf. And then once this has cooked for about 5 minutes, we'll give it a check and then make sure that we add our beans in and start adding all the other ingredients to make our delicious pinto bean soup. Now you can see that this has really been cooking, and now the water has started reducing. So that's a great sign. You want to simmer these tomatoes to a point that there is not too much water in them, right? because that's the only way you can get to fry all the ingredients that you've added in so that they release the unique flavor once they interact with cooking oil. So now that this is ready, it smells very nice. You can go ahead and test the tomatoes. If the ingredients are not enough, at this point is the right time for you to make the adjustments. But I think they are okay now. I'll just let it cook down for about more 5 minutes so that it's really dry. Like I want to see some oil, that we put in, and then know that everything is dry. Now you can see clearly the water has really dehydrated, and that's what we want at this point. So we'll just go ahead and mix it. You see, it tends to get sticky if the water is finished. So that's also an indicator. So this is good. And the flavors in here are amazing. Let us know in the comment section if there's an ingredient that you like using in your beans that we have not used, and we could see if maybe we will update our beans recipe to add that ingredient. Now we'll go ahead and add our beans. So the aim at this time is to make sure that the beans get coated with the tomatoes that we have been cooking and all the other ingredients. So we'll just give them a great turn. Don't be shy, just give them a good turn so that every bean is coated with the tomatoes, the onions, the scallions, the dry spices that we have added in, and also the bay leaf is doing its part because it releases that unique scent that I can't explain, but I really believe that bay leaf is my best ingredient that I use in my cooking. So we'll just make sure that we cover it so that again it simmers and absorbs more of the flavors that we have been building up for the last 15 minutes. So we'll not be shy. The most important thing is that it should not burn. So you can cover and monitor. Once it starts burning, you can go ahead and add some water. So it has been simmering for about 10 minutes, absorbing all the flavors, absorbing all the ingredients that we have been using to build up the ingredient profile of our beans. So at this point, I would eat these beans like this, but I love some soup. So I'll just go ahead and start the next process of adding some water so that the water boils again and absorbs all the flavors that we have been building up so that we enjoy some bean soup. So if it weren't bean soup, if it's something I'm going to eat with bread or something that I don't need soup, then I will just end it after, everything has coated, and I could also go ahead and serve it. So now the next thing is we just want this to boil until it absorbs all the flavors. So it has been boiling for about 15 minutes. Remember that we added in water, not broth. So you want that water to boil to also absorb all the ingredients that we have added in and also just flavor up our beans because we really need the soup because this is a bean soup. So this will be followed by adding some bell peppers. We have some green and red bell peppers here. Feel free to add other colors that you like. I only have the green and red, and these are frozen. I'm a fan of frozen vegetables. First is they're still fresh, and second is they come at a good price point. So I'm not. I would eat, unfrozen veggies if I really need to make something, but frozen are still good. So we'll also go ahead and add some carrots. These are fresh carrots. So we want to build up the vegetable profile of our bean soup and let this boil, but not so long because at this point we just want them to blanch and also absorb the flavors that we have been building for the last 1 hour of cooking our beans. Then we'll go ahead and add some frozen kale. You can add other vegetables like spinach. I had kale, and I really like kale in beans, but you could go ahead and add any other vegetables that you have. Sometimes in my childhood, when I was young, we used to add cabbage and it really tasted nice. But now we only have kale, so we'll go with the kale. We'll make sure that all these boil, so we'll just cover so that they release the ingredients that they have, the flavors, and also just make our beans taste nice and also visually look nice. So this is a nice way of eating your vegetables. If you have a hard time eating vegetables, such bean soup can be one way that you add all of your favorite vegetables. You could add mushrooms or any other vegetables and eat them like that, so you have the protein and fiber in one meal, just as our doctors always recommend us to do. So now I feel like this soup is a little bit much. I like my soups a little bit thick, so I'll just go ahead and add in a thickener at this point. So the name of this thickener is Reiko. People from East Africa know Reiko. I think Eastern and Southern Africa, but it's the equivalent of cornstarch. Here in the US, it's cornstarch or any other thickener that they use. It also boosts up the flavor, but also just thickens our soup so that we have a great consistency. So this is always the last thing I add in when I'm cooking, to just make sure that all the flavors come together. The beans are a little thick enough, so it's not like running soup, but it's also not very heavy soup. So we'll let the thickener cook up, because once it doesn't cook well, you can always test the flavor of the thickener, but you're not supposed to test the flavor of the thickener. So I boil this for about 6 minutes, and then I'll let this go out. You can see that the soup has reduced because the thickener has been doing what it's supposed to do. So at this point, our beans are ready, but we just make sure, we give it a great turn. We make sure nothing is burning. We check the consistency of the soup. Is this what we wanted or no? If it's not, if it's too thick, you can also feel free to add in some water and let it just boil, go through the process again. But if it's not, then if you want it more thicker, then you can add more thickener and get the consistency of the thickness that you like. Once again, thank you so much for watching our videos. Please like, please subscribe, and please comment. We really appreciate the privilege of your time. So now that this are ready, we'll go ahead and serve our great pinto beans. This is the outcome of our beans. So we have protein on the plate and fiber in one plate, and it tastes nice. It is delicious. If you have trouble with beans, let us know if this is how you'll be trying. This is a closer look of our beans. It looks nice, it's delicious. Once again, thank you so much for watching our videos. Thank you for the privilege of your time. Please like, please subscribe, please comment. We appreciate the privilege of your